Hello and welcome to the 6th lesson in the U.S. Citizenship Preparation class. Thank you for staying with us. Classes are brought to you through the Gilchrist Immigrant Resource Center with special thanks to teacher Daniel McCall. Now for a quick review test on some of last week's civics questions. Please pause the video so you have time to answer the question before I show the answers. Let's see if you remember these. Who does a U.S. Senator represent? Who does a U.S. Senator represent? All people of the state. All people of the state. What is the rule of law? What is the rule of law? Everyone must follow the law. Leaders must obey the law. Government must obey the law. No one is above the law. What are the two parts of the U.S. Congress? What are the two parts of the U.S. Congress? The Senate and House of Representatives. The Senate and House. You can just say the House. You don't have to say House of Representatives. It's okay. Why do some states have more representatives than other states? Because of the state's population, because they have more people. Either answer. We elect a U.S. representative for how many years? We elect a U.S. representative for how many years? 2 years. We elect a senator for how many years? We elect a U.S. senator for how many years? 6. Remember, senator, 6. The House of Representatives has how many voting members? The House of Representatives has how many voting members? That's 435. 435. Very good. Now let's try a reading and a writing sentence. Try reading this sentence here. Where does Congress meet? Where does Congress meet? Now write this sentence. Congress meets in Washington, D.C. Congress meets in Washington, D.C. And you'll check your answer here and practice that sentence. Now, moving right along with this week's civics lesson. Today we will be continuing our discussion of the 3 branches of government. Remember our 3 branches here. We have the President, Congress, the courts, and then the President is the executive branch, Congress is the legislative branch, and the courts is the judicial branch. 2 weeks ago we talked about the executive branch, and then last week we talked about the legislative branch. Today we will discuss the judicial branch, the judicial branch. The judicial branch is the Supreme Court and the lower federal courts throughout the United States. The judicial branch reviews laws, explains laws, resolves disputes or disagreements, especially between the states, and decides if a law goes against the Constitution. Okay, it does all of these things. So the Supreme Court is the highest court in the United States and has complete authority over all federal courts. But it has some limits in its power over the states. But in the end, no court is above the Supreme Court. It is the highest court in the United States. Justices. The justices are the 9 judges on the Supreme Court. There are 9 justices. They are appointed by the president and then they are confirmed by the Senate. They serve until they resign or die. So remember how the president, the senators, the U.S. representatives need to run for re-election? The president, 4 years, the senators, 6 years, the U.S. representatives, 2 years, and they have to run again. President has term limits. Well, once the Supreme Court justice is confirmed, once a Supreme Court justice is confirmed on the court, they are there for life until they retire, resign, or pass away. And here's a picture of the Supreme Court as it stands in May of 2020. Oh, one more thing I want to mention, if we go back here for a second, how it says they are appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. Remember how we talked about that checks and balances, right? Separation of powers. So you can see here, the president doesn't just get to pick these justices that serve for life, right? Those justices still need to be confirmed by the Senate. So we still have those checks and balances there. Now, the Chief Justice is the person in charge of the Supreme Court, and that is John G. Roberts, Jr. He is our Chief Justice, and John Roberts is the 17th Chief Justice. And even though he is the highest official in the judicial branch, his vote carries the same weight as all the other justices. So when it comes time to vote, he gets his vote and the other justices get their vote, and they're all equal, even though he presides over the Supreme Court. I briefly mentioned federal government and state government before because the powers of the government are divided between the federal and state governments. The federal government's powers are restricted to those described in the U.S. Constitution. The Constitution gives the federal government the power to print money, to declare war, to create an army, and to make treaties with other nations. Here's a picture of the U.S. Mint. You can actually have a tour and see how money is printed. Now, some of the powers of the state governments are to provide schooling and education, to provide protection, like the police, to provide safety, like fire departments, to get a driver's license, and approve zoning and land use. That zoning is how the land is used, whether you can have a business or that's a private residential area, things like that. These are the powers of the states. Now the governor is the leader of a state. The governor's job in the state government is similar to the president's job in the federal government, right? The governor is in charge of the state, and then the president resides over the entire federal government. The governor's duties and powers also vary from state to state. Now, very good. Let's see how you do with these questions. Get ready to make some more flashcards. What does the judicial branch do? What does the judicial branch do? It reviews laws, explains laws, resolves disputes, decides if a law goes against the Constitution. So now when you're making your flashcard here, if you're writing down, you only need to remember one of these. You do not need to remember all four. Just choose one that is easy for you to remember and don't worry about the rest. How many justices are on the Supreme Court? How many justices are on the Supreme Court? That's right, 9. What is the highest court in the United States? The Supreme Court. The Supreme Court. Who is the Chief Justice of the United States now? The Chief Justice, that is John Roberts. John Roberts, or John G. Roberts, Jr., his full name. Under our Constitution, some powers belong to the federal government, What is one power of the federal government? Any one of these. Ready? To print money, to declare war, to create an army, to make treaties. Okay, choose any one of those. And then here, this one was the federal government. Guess what? Under our Constitution, some powers belong to the states. What is one power of the states? To provide schooling and education, provide protection, provide safety, give a driver's license, approve zoning and land use. Any one of those. Who is the governor of your state? Who is the governor of your state now? Answers will vary here. You'll need to go to usa.gov/state-governor to choose your state to find the name of your governor. Or you can ask us below and we'll find it for you. Let's go on and try some reading and writing sentences. See if we can read this together. What do we pay to the government? What do we pay to the government? Now practice writing this sentence and write it down on your card or in a little book. We pay taxes. We pay taxes. And practice writing that sentence. Let's read this one together. What president is on the dollar bill? What president is on the dollar bill? Very good. Now try to write this sentence. Washington is on the dollar bill. Washington is on the dollar bill. Okay, practice writing that one. Please join us for class number 7 to continue your lessons. If you click on that subscribe button above, you will get the next lesson delivered right to your inbox. And every subscriber helps us to continue providing free immigration resources. So let us know if you have any questions below, and we will do our best to get answers to you or point you in the right direction. Thank you all once again for watching. Keep studying, and please stay well out there. Stay healthy.